Hello my friends! Welcome back. How are you all doing today? Are you ready for more TTBurger game reviews? Because you come to the right place. We're continuing with my Final Fantasy series review here, TTBurger Final Fantasy game review here. And today we dive into the PlayStation 3 era of Final Fantasy here. This is episode 302, part 7 of 10 huge parts. We're getting to the end here, and we're diving into the PlayStation 3 era of Final Fantasy. Before we get started here, here's what happened last time. I took a look at Final Fantasy XII for the PlayStation 2 and I gave it a 7 out of 10 because it made some unnecessary changes that affected the game for me. While there were people who did like these changes, I was not a big fan of them. And the story just kind of went nowhere. The main protagonist was just there. If you take him out, then it doesn't change anything. And there were other problems with the balance that I did not like. But it's still considered a game. Just when it comes to the main Final Fantasy games, that's my least favorite of the bunch so far. But now we're gonna zoom ahead to the year 2010. PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360 were kicking ass with each other, and it was coming to like who was better, this one or that one. And Final Fantasy XIII, the first game to release on the Xbox 360 of the franchise, and also the PS3 later on the PC. We got the game right here, starring Lightning. This is Final Fantasy XIII for the PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360 and PC, released on March 9th, 2010, which is my friend JJ Jaguar 89's birthday, who was also a big fan of Final Fantasy. So a shout out to you, JJ Jaguar 89, and even though your birthday is long past, happy very belated birthday to you. And let's just start here talking about Final Fantasy XIII, shall we? Ah yes, Final Fantasy XIII, a game that fans anticipated and waited for due to the next generation of video game consoles. Final Fantasy XIII was first developed as a PlayStation 3 exclusive until Microsoft also brought the rights to Square. Due to this, fans were not happy. Final Fantasy XIII had to make changes so it could run on the Xbox 360. I feel like it should have just stayed on PlayStation 3 as an exclusive. I will talk more about this later because I have played both versions. The question is, how did Final Fantasy XIII turn out after all the changes they had to make? Well, to be honest with you all, it is definitely a better game over Final Fantasy XII. Gone is that awful balance system and other annoying stuff from last time. Here they go back to its roots. Well, for the most part go back to its roots with a turn-based battle system that's easier to understand. There's also another Final Fantasy game where you play as a female protagonist. Also, there are multiple characters you can play as well. That has not been done like this since Final Fantasy IX. Sure, Final Fantasy XII did it, but it felt very different. Final Fantasy XIII was criticized for certain gameplay choices that somewhat affected it overall, but it's still a great game, better than what most fans give it credit for. Final Fantasy XIII decides to go for a cinematic RPG approach, making the game very linear in most cases. Yes, there were certain parts in some of the past games that were linear, but this game takes it to a whole new level. While it may not affect me that much, I can see why it does to other people. There are not really any branching paths, which I'll admit I was disappointed by this. I will talk more about this later on, because we need to get to the nitty gritty. Final Fantasy XIII's story takes place on the futuristic floating world of Cocoon in the land of the world of Grand Pulse. Grand Pulse is a natural world where beasts and plants grow in big sizes. The citizens of Cocoon view Pulse as hell for humans. They greatly fear of a war against the alien fal'Cie since they waged a war in the past. The fal'Cie control both Cocoon and Grand Pulse with a mechanical godlike power. They control the citizens of both worlds, making them servants. In Cocoon, the citizens of the town of Bodham are being evicted or purged after coming in contact with Pulse. The story shows flashbacks from the last 13 days to better explain everything in the story. Everything began when a fal'Cie from Pulse was discovered near Bodham. In Final Fantasy XIII, you play as 6 playable characters. Mainly you spend time playing as Lightning, aka Claire Farron. Lightning is a young woman with a younger sister named Sarah. Sarah Farron got cursed by Pulse and has turned to crystal. Lightning must save her before it's too late. The other characters you play as are Snow Villas, who is Sarah's fiance, Oriba Dia Vanille, who was supposed to be the main protagonist. She's also the narrator of Final Fantasy XIII, along with Hope Estime and Saz Katsroy and Oriba Yongfeng. I enjoy playing as Lightning and Vanille the best. They are the best developed characters of the game. Snow and Hope are the worst characters. Snow is a cocky son of a bitch who is rude and obnoxious. He is one of the reasons why Sarah got turned to a crystal. The worst part is you're forced to play as him throughout certain parts of the game. Hope is a whiny brat who is like, I hate you, blah blah blah. The story for the most part is good aside from some of the unlikable characters. It is 10 times better than Final Fantasy XII, I'll say that much. Even the main protagonist is better developed as well. The story is set up in a chapter format, a first in the series. It is not the best story in the franchise, but still pretty damn good. Final Fantasy XIII shines in the presentation department. This is one of the best looking games for the time of its release. Well, I am talking about the PlayStation 3 version. The Xbox 360 version not only looks awful, but runs horribly. It even has to run on 3 discs for that version as well. It was even compressed in 576p, meaning it doesn't even run in HD. The PlayStation 3 version, however, looks and runs better. It runs in 720p, and it's also only on 1 Blu-ray disc. For the PlayStation 3 version, the character models look fantastic. The game almost looks as good as the CG movie Final Fantasy VII Advent Children. I may not have liked the movie, but the graphics looked amazing. The cutscenes look amazing, all using the in-game graphics engine. Well, 95% of them do. Some of them are pre-rendered, which is fine of course, but for the most part, using the in-game graphics engine, the cutscenes look amazingly detailed. And guess what? The lip-syncing matches up both English and Japanese due to the motion capture. The one main drawback to the graphics though are the environments. Due to Square wanting to make Final Fantasy XIII a cinematic style RPG, they decided to make the game very linear with no branching paths to take whatsoever. A lot of time the environments are usually long narrow corridors or tunnels and other stuff. Very rarely there are outdoor environments, which is very strange. The PlayStation 3 version does not really have any slowdown for the most part. The 360 version, however, has frame issues and other graphical problems. Final Fantasy XIII's audio aspect is good, could be better but still good. The voice setting is okay. I do wish there was an option on the Japanese audio, but sadly it's not here. Even for the PlayStation 3 version, which is on a Blu-ray disc. The Japanese audio from what I heard is better. However, the English audio is still decent. The music is okay. The theme song by Leona Lewis is amazing, and I am a big Leona Lewis fan. I've been a fan of her since her song Bleeding Love came out in the States in 2008. The rest of the music, you either love it or hate it depending on who you are. The voice setting has some well-known actors that I forgot to mention earlier. We got Ali Hills who voices Lightning, Troy Baker who voices Snow, Laura Bailey who voices Sarah, we got Mary Elizabeth Miss McGlynn, Georgia Van Cuylenburg, and more. It's nice to see these actors in Final Fantasy XIII. While they're great, I do wish that some of the performances were better. Some of the actors do not do a good job with the lines. That's all just my opinion though, ladies and gentlemen. However, I will take what I can get. It's better than nothing at all. But we need to continue here. For Final Fantasy XIII's gameplay, we have a better experience than Final Fantasy XII. This time the battle system is much better. Gone is that awful wheel-time system from the last game where it made you vulnerable and you got killed when you were trying to pick an attack or pick an item that overpowered you, or they overpowered against you, and you died. Sure, everything takes place in real time here still, but it's much simpler. There's some elements in the battle system that were in Final Fantasy XII, such as the enemies that you can avoid or attack. The battle system also has an automatic setting where it picks the attacks for you, and there you go. You also have the stagger system. That's basically a chain bolt that increases the damage, very helpful when you're in trouble. Next up is the paradigm system. This allows you to program the active party members to have a specific role similar to the job system in the previous games. You can choose Commando that deals physical damage, you have Ravager which uses elemental magic. Another one is Medic where you can heal or remove negative status ailments. There are more we need to figure out for yourself. Finally, we have the Crystarium. This is your level up system that consists of 6 crystals and resembles a sphere grid from Final Fantasy X, but much simpler to figure out. In order to level up, you need to collect nodes that will supply you with health bonuses along with strength, magic, and more. These will help you a lot for the tough battles. With regular combat, it's fine like I mentioned. However, it can be a little too simple at times, making it too easy to win. Even when automatic setting is shut off, it's still too easy at times. However, there are some parts where the difficulty just spikes up for no reason. If your leader character dies, it's game over, no matter if your supporting characters are still alive. Thankfully you can retry before the battle started, which makes things much less frustrating. There is a way around this though, by taking advantage of the paradigm system when swapping the types of moves and more. Also, some of the characters are weak though, they're pretty weak. This would be no issue if you could just change the leader or character, but you cannot do that unless you beat the game. I never heard of that happening before, so if you have a weak leader that's automatic pick for you and you die constantly, it's gonna be a pain in the neck. There are no puzzles to solve at all. You just run and fight and run and fight and run and fight. How about some variety here in the gameplay? Sure, there are items you can find, but they're not that well hidden. These mainly consist of potions and phoenix downs that are found in floating spheres that are scattered throughout the world. The shop is back, it's the same as the save point. Gil, however, is very hard to find. You have to find Gil throughout worlds that can be in areas that you wouldn't even bother to look. Sure, the iron spheres can obtain Gil, but this is pretty rare. Now, I'm not bashing the game for these things, but I enjoy this game more than Final Fantasy XII. It's just some things can be annoying or a pain in the neck. Final Fantasy XIII is a great game, better than Final Fantasy XII. Is it better than Final Fantasy VIII? No, but it comes off as a great game. Definitely worth owning. I know there are certain fans who do not like this game for some of the problems I mentioned, however, I can look past these because they're annoyances to say the least. Now, before we can even give this game a score, it's time to go to our TTBurger positives and negatives here. For the TTBurger positives, Final Fantasy XIII makes its debut on the PlayStation 3. It's the first Final Fantasy game on the Xbox 360. Very interesting story that feels like a Final Fantasy movie. Excellent graphics, especially on the PlayStation 3. It's the first trilogy of series of the franchise. The second 3D Final Fantasy game with a female protagonist. Theme song by Leona Lewis is amazing. Decent English voice acting, better battle system. Lighting is a very good main protagonist, multiple characters to play as. For the TTBurger negatives, Final Fantasy XIII comes off as very linear. No branching paths or hidden items. The music could have been better. Very unlikable characters such as Snow and Hope. Difficulty is all over the place. No Japanese audio option. The Xbox 360 version does not look very good. Game mainly takes place indoors, and the game was downgraded to run on the Xbox 360. Those are the only problems I have with it though. If you enjoy Final Fantasy, you'll enjoy Final Fantasy XIII. It's a must buy, definitely for sure, and I recommend you all to pick it up. There are some problems though, but it should not be avoided. So what is my final thoughts and rating of Final Fantasy XIII? Final Fantasy XIII gets an 8.5 out of 10. It's not the highest score of a Final Fantasy game that I gave in the past, but still a great score and a great game overall. I definitely recommend you all picking up, mainly the PlayStation 3 version. If you own Xbox 360, yeah, I get it, but it's gonna have those problems, but if you have to choose between the PS3 version and the Xbox 360 version, get the PS3 version, it's worth it more. And that's all I gotta say for Final Fantasy XIII, episode 302, part 7 of 10 parts. Stay tuned, we're gonna look at the sequel to Final Fantasy XIII called Final Fantasy XIII 2. This time starring Lightning's sister, Seraphon. How does it fare? People say it's better, people say it's worse, people say it's just as good, but what's my opinion? You have to find out next, which all I gotta say is Tony, peace and out, have a day, see you all in my review of Final Fantasy XIII 2. Released on the PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360. Take care, ladies and gentlemen. See you then.